Do you know how life sometimes falls apart? Not with loud music and not during a scandal with breaking dishes. Sometimes life falls apart into pieces in complete silence, to the rhythmic hum of the cooler in the laptop. It was an ordinary Tuesday. A gray, dusty Chisinau evening. I returned from work as tired as a dog. Quarterly reports, eternal disputes with the tax office, and also a traffic jam on the viaduct, which frayed the last of my nerves. My name is Alina. Me 32 years old. I'm an ordinary accountant. I have a mortgage, a husband Sergey, a 2-room apartment in Botanica and a complete feeling that I'm happy. I was. Until this evening. It all started with sheer nonsense. In the morning, when Sergey took me to work, I noticed a fresh scratch on the bumper of our car. So deep, so unpleasant. Sergey waved it off, said that it was probably someone hit me in the yard. But I'm meticulous. I'm an accountant, I love accuracy. In the evening, while my husband was taking a shower, I decided to check the recording from the DVR. I just wanted to find out who this scoundrel was who ruined our bumper, and whether it was possible to get insurance. I took out a memory card, inserted it into the laptop and started looking through the files. I was looking for the moment of impact. And I found the moment that hit me harder than any car. There was a familiar picture on the screen, a windshield glass, evening Chisinau, lights of the Jamba shopping center. The car was stuck in a traffic jam. But the most interesting thing was happening not outside, but inside the cabin. The recorder was recording the sound. And this sound was crystal clear. Women's speech, young, capricious, with such viscous intonations that immediately made me shudder. "Seriosa, but how long can you wait?" The voice asked. "You promised that by the summer we would already be in Italy. And we are still stuck in this hole." I froze. The hand with the mouse hung in the air. I knew this voice. It was not some random fellow traveler. It was said by a woman who felt like a mistress in my car. "Christina baby, don't start," my husband's voice answered. The same soft, velvety voice that he wished yesterday good night to me. "I'm working on it. You know, Alina, a difficult person. She grabbed onto this apartment like a tick. So tear her off." The girl snorted. "Are you a man or what? Tell her that you have debts. Tell her that the bandits are threatening. Come up with something. You're talented." I was sitting in the kitchen, in my cozy apartment, where fresh borscht was cooling on the stove, and felt the floor disappearing from under my feet. They were discussing me. They were discussing my life, as if I were just an annoying nuisance. "I had already started processing," Sergey said smugly. "Told her that there is an option to invest in a business. In building materials from Romania. The topic is correct. She, of course, has little understanding of business. She's just an accountant. She calculates numbers, but doesn't see the scale. But I'll wait." "And if you don't agree to sell?" Christina asked. "Agree," my husband grinned. "Where will she go?" "She believes me like a little dog. I'll tell her about great prospects, about the fact that we'll pay off the mortgage and buy a house outside the city. The main thing is to get the money out. The apartment now costs 80,000 euros. We'll pay off the debt to the bank, there will be 50,000 left on hand. The baby will be enough for you and me for the first time. We'll buy you the car you wanted and fly away. And let her sit with her reports." 50,000, the girl drawled dreamily. "It sounds sweet. Just come quickly, Serious. I didn't hire myself to wait forever." A week, maximum 2, he promised, and judging by the sound, he kissed her. The recording ended. I sat in the dark. I heard the water rustling in the bathroom. Sergei washed himself. He washed off the smell of other people's perfume in order to come out to me as a clean and loving husband. Inside me, something broke. You know, they say that they scream out of pain. I didn't scream. I felt a strange coldness. As if I was under anesthesia and my emotions were turned off. All that was left was bare, cold calculation. He called me a little dog. He said that I was slow to think. I looked around the kitchen. We chose these curtains together. I bought this table for a bonus. The down payment for this apartment was given by my mother, having sold her summer cottage, which she had been saving for 20 years. Sergei then contributed a penny, but proudly called the apartment ours. And now he wants to sell it all, take 50,000 euros and leave with some Christina to Italy. Leave me homeless at 32 years old in a rented room. The bathroom door opened. Sergei came out, wiping his head with a towel. Pink, happy, smelling of my favorite shower gel. Alinka, why are you sitting in the dark? He asked cheerfully. Is dinner ready? I'm hungry like a wolf. I've been rushing around to meetings all day, I'm terribly tired. I'm trying everything for our sake, my love. He came up and kissed me on the top of the head. I looked up at him. There was no shame or doubt in his eyes. Only the confidence that I'm a fool. A comfortable, submissive fool. Ready, I said. My voice didn't even waver. Sit down now, I'll warm it up. I got up and went to stove. At that second I made a decision. I won tea make a scandal. I won tea cry and break plates. I won tea kick him out today, as any proud woman would do. No. It would be too simple. Too easy for him. He wants to sell the apartment. We'll sell it. He wants to play at being a great strategist. I'll play along. But he forgot one thing. I'm an accountant. I can count not only money, but also risks. And I know the laws better than he thinks. Sergei ate borscht and praised him, and I looked at his chewing mouth and thought, eat, dear, eat. Gain strength. You will need them soon. Because you just declared war on the wrong person. The next day he began his performance, not suspecting that I already knew the script to the last letter. And I have my own ending for this play. The morning began from the smell of coffee and false concern. Sergei brought me a cup of coffee straight to bed. Over the 5 years of marriage, this happened at most twice, and then when he crashed my car. Now the reason was much more serious, he was going to ruin my life. I took a sip, looking at him over the top of the mug. He glowed with enthusiasm, like a light bulb. He walked around the room, rubbing his hands, every now and then straightening his hair. I knew this look, that's how he looked when believed that he had caught luck by the tail. Alinchik, he began, sitting down on the edge of the bed. I didn't sleep all night. I thought about us. About our future. Of course I didn't sleep, I thought. You corresponded with Christina. And what did you think? I asked, trying to make my voice sound sleepy and soft. We are marking time, you know, his eyes were burning. We work for my uncle, we pay this damned mortgage, and life goes by. Look, Sashka is already finishing the house, Vadim took a new car. And he made a theatrical pause. I was silent. I was wondering how exactly he would bring the conversation to the sale of the apartment. In short, listen, he leaned closer, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. The right topic had appeared. Reinforced concrete. My friend from customs, but you don't know him, he came through his godfathers. In general, there is a channel for the supply of building materials from Romania. The prices there are 2 times lower than ours. The demand is crazy, the season is starting. You just need to invest at the start. Invest? I asked again. Seriosa, we have savings, the cat cried. So? He jumped up and began pacing around the bedroom. That's the problem. We are sitting on money, but it doesn't work. Alina, look, we are selling our apartment. We are closing the rest of the bank for a long time. We have 40,000, maybe 50 euros left on our hands. I invest them in goods. Turnover is only a month. In a month I take the money with a profit of 100. Do you understand? 100. We are not buying this 2-room apartment with thin walls, but a normal house. Or a penthouse in the center. He spoke so convincingly, so passionately. If I had not heard yesterday's recording, I might have doubted. He drew castles in the air, sprinkled with terms, walrus, logistics, installments. But I heard only one thing: give me the money so that I can escape. Seriosa, this is scary, I said, lowering my eyes. To sell our only home. And if we go bankrupt, don't be such a coward. Irritation slipped into his voice, but he immediately pulled himself together. Guaranteed, 100%. The people there are serious, everything is seized at the border. Do you believe me or not? I am your husband, I am trying for the family. For the family, it echoed in my head. I need to think, I quietly answered. This is a serious step. Think, of course. He smiled again, but the smile came out predatory. Just quickly. The topic is on fire. I have 3 days to give an answer to my partners, otherwise, they will take another investor. Don't miss our chance, Alina. He went into the shower, leaving me alone with a cold cup of coffee. I got up, went into the living room. His tablet was on the table. The screen was off, but then a notification came and it lit up. I didn't enter the password. I knew it. It was his date of birth. Trite to the point of nausea. I clicked on the mail icon. No letters from suppliers, there were no building materials there. But there was fresh correspondence with the realtor. I opened the last letter. And here I broke out in a cold sweat. Sergey, good morning. There is a client for your property on the catalog. I'm ready to give a deposit, but wants to see the apartment today, tomorrow. You said, my wife works until 6. We can manage to show you while she's gone. I covered my mouth with my hand so as not to scream. He had already put the apartment up for sale. Without my consent, without signatures, he just threw out a bait. And the worst thing is, he was ready to bring strangers into my house while I was sitting in the office. I scrolled below. There were photographs of our bedroom, kitchen, even bathroom. The photographs were taken a couple of days ago, when I went to see my mother. He prepared in advance. He thought of everything. My gaze fell on one more Tina message sent already in Messenger, to the user bunny. She's breaking down, but I'll wait. She said she'll think about it. This is a good sign. Usually she immediately says no. Prepare your bags, baby. I put the tablet in place, trying to keep it lying exactly at the same angle. My hands were shaking, but there was no more fear. There was rage. Cold, calculating rage. So, 3 days? You have 3 days, Serioza. Great. 2 are enough for me. I took my phone and went out onto the balcony. I dialed my mother's number. Hello, Mom. Hello. I said, looking at the gray high-rise buildings. No. Everything is fine. Listen, I have a strange request for you. Do you remember, when we bought an apartment, you transferred money from your account to mine? Yes, that same first payment, 8 years ago. Mom asked something in surprise at the other end of the line. Yes, Mom, I really need it. I interrupted. Please find bank statements. And find that receipt that I wrote to you then to calm Dad down. What is this money, a targeted gift? Yes, look for it right now. This is a matter of life and death. More precisely, a question of justice. I ended the conversation just at the moment when Sergey came out of the bathroom. Who were you chatting with? He asked suspiciously. With Mom, I answered honestly. I told her that everything was fine with us. That's a good girl, he patted me on the shoulder. Well, when will we go to the notary? Maybe tomorrow. Why pull? I looked at him and smiled. For the first time in 2 days, sincerely. Because I already saw how the trap was slamming shut. Let's do it tomorrow, Serioza. If the topic is so hot. Let's do it tomorrow. Wednesday turned out to be hectic. My niece had a birthday this weekend, and like an exemplary aunt, I rushed to the shopping center at lunchtime to buy a gift. Do you know this state, when your head is filled with numbers, reports, and you are running through the shopping center, catching between teenagers and mothers with strollers, and trying to remember which particular doll is in fashion now? I went up to the 3rd floor. There, next to the children's store, there is a small coffee shop and an area with sofas, overlooking the courtyard. I bought a huge box with a dollhouse and decided to drink an espresso to catch my breath before returning to the office. I sat down at a distant table hidden behind an artificial ficus tree. I took a sip, took out my phone to check my email. And froze. A couple was sitting right in front of me, literally 10 steps away. They sat with their backs to the aisle, but facing me. More precisely, a girl was sitting facing me, and I recognized the man by the back of her head. Therefore, the neatly shaved back of her head and the blue jacket that I ironed myself this morning. It was Sergey. And she was sitting opposite him. Christina. It was the first time I saw her live. I couldn't make out her face in the video from the recorder, but here it was in full view. Young, bright. Extended eyelashes, plump lips, cleavage that screamed, "Look at me." She was the complete opposite of me. Me, jeans, and comfortable shoes, she. High heels and aggressive makeup in the middle of the day. They weren't just drinking coffee. They were celebrating. On the table in front of them lay a tablet. Sergey was enthusiastically showing her something on the screen, moving his finger. Christina laughed, throwing her head back, playfully slapping him on the hand. I turned into hearing. The noise of the shopping center suddenly became quiet, as if someone had turned the volume to minimum, leaving only their voices. Seriosa. But look at the hotel. Christina squeaked enthusiastically. 5 stars, first line. There's even champagne breakfasts. We have to fly there. Baby, these are the Maldives, it's expensive. With the smile of a cat who had eaten too much sour cream, he pulled Sergey. Although, if everything burns out of the apartment this week, then why not? We deserve it. Not if, but when, she corrected him harshly. You said that this chicken almost agrees. Chicken. She called me a chicken. And my husband, the man with whom I shared my life for 5 years, did not pull her back. He laughed. I agree, where will she go? Yesterday too told her such a fairy tale about business, you'll listen. She's trusting of me. She believes that I want to buy us a house. And will buy us freedom. Sergei called the waiter. The bill, please, he said, and took out his wallet. I saw him pull out several large bills. Cash. 500 lei, another 500. He casually threw them on the table, leaving a generous tip. It felt like an electric shock to me. Hit. Last night he swore to me that he didn't even have the money to change the oil in the car. He said that we have nothing to pay for utilities next month, so we urgently need to sell the apartment. And now he is spending our weekly budget on lunch with his mistress and planning a vacation to the Maldives. Christina reached across the table and kissed him. Long, greedily, like a master. The main thing is that this fool signs the agreement before Friday, she said, pulling away. I've already looked at the swimsuits. I don't want to wait. She'll sign, Sergei said confidently. Today I'll give her a romantic dinner. I'll buy flowers, wine. Women fall for it. I'll say that I love, that I'm doing everything for the sake of our future. She'll break up and sign everything. I felt nausea creeping up my throat. I wanted to get up, go up to them, turn this table over, throw it in their faces cold coffee. Scream at the entire shopping center, what a scoundrel he is. But I clenched my fists so that my nails dug into my palms. No. No scenes. No emotions. If I start a scandal now, he will be scared. He will understand that I know everything. He will hide, begin to divide the property through the court, lie, hide income. But we have a mortgage on me, and the laws work cunning. I can be left with debts and half an apartment in which it is impossible to live. No. Revenge is a dish that is served cold. I see. I quietly got up, took my box with a doll and left. They never noticed me. They were too busy with their happiness, built on my stupidity. I drove home with an empty head. Everything was burned inside, love, pity, doubts. All that was left was a clear plan actions. In the evening Sergei came home with a bouquet of roses. 3 red roses in cellophane. I'm at home, beloved. He shouted from the doorway. Look what I brought you. I walked past the flower shop, I remembered you. I went out into the corridor. I looked at these roses. At his fake smile. I remembered the chicken and the Maldives. I took the flowers, smelled them and smiled in response to him. This was my best role. Oscar is crying for me. Thank you, dear, I said softly. You know, I've been thinking about your proposal all day. About business, about Romania. He tensed up. Fear and hope flashed in his eyes at the same time. So what? He asked carefully. You're right, I exhaled. We're marking time. We have to take risks. I agree. Let's sell the apartment. He almost jumped. He wanted to hug me, but I deftly dodged, ostensibly to put flowers in a vase. Only I added one condition, standing with my back to him. What? His voice trembled. Anything, darling. We have to do it quickly. I don't want to wait for months for buyers. I'll place the ad myself. I have friends. And will carry out the transaction through a reliable notary so that everything is clean. You don't mind if I take care of the papers? You're already busy with business. Of course. He breathed a sigh of relief. Do what you want? The main thing is to sell. I have the smartest wife in the world. The smartest, I mentally agreed. You can't even imagine how much. He went into the kitchen to open the wine, anticipating victory. And I went into the bedroom and took out an old folder with documents from the box. There, among the bills and guarantee coupons, lay the same marriage contract and bank statements that my mother sent me an hour ago by courier. The trap slammed shut. All that was left was the bait. Put. Events rushed at such a speed that I barely had time to catch my breath. Do you know what happens before a thunderstorm? The air becomes thick, heavy, and everyone freezes in anticipation of the first clap of thunder. Thursday. The day before the deal. I found the buyer myself and very quickly. It was my former colleague, Oleg. A programmer, a serious guy who had been looking for an apartment for a long time, in our area, on Botanica, closer to the park, Rose Valley. He didn't need realtors, he didn't need long viewings. He knew ours. House, knew the layout. Alina, the price is adequate, he said on the phone. If the documents are clean, I'm ready to take it. The money is lying there, waiting. When I told this news to Sergey, he almost started dancing right in the corridor. Olisa, handsome, he shouted, rubbing his hands. Cash? Euro? Lord, it will finally trample. Sergey was in a state of euphoria. Drug-addicted euphoria from the anticipation of big money. He stopped hiding. He was constantly on the phone, went out onto the balcony, whispered. I heard snippets of phrases. Yes, tomorrow everything will be. Order the maximum package, baby, you will be a queen. He was sure that he was holding God by the beard, but the worst thing was not this. During the day, while I was at work, I received a notification from our mutual friend who works in a microcredit organization. Chisinau, a small city, everyone knows each other here. Alan, hello, she wrote. Your Sergey was with us today. He took 3,000 euros at some crazy interest rate. He said, for a couple of days before the sale of the apartment. Do you know? I approved the application, he is your husband, but I'm worried. I read the message and smiled coldly. 3,000 euros. It was a deposit. He had already made a deposit for the car for Christina. For the car that he was going to buy with the money from the sale of my house. He painted himself into a corner. If tomorrow he doesn't receive the money, these 3,000 will burn, and creditors will start to ruin him. Great. The bets are done. There are no more bets. In the evening I staged the final act of our performance. We sat in the kitchen. The table was littered with papers, certificates from the municipal office, receipts for the absence of debts, copies of passports. Sergey nervously walked from corner to corner, every now and then glancing at his watch. Well, what's there? He was in a hurry. I collected everything. Did you forget anything? It seems that's it, I tiredly rubbed my temples. Serioza, there is one problem. He froze. His face instantly twisted with fear. What other problem, Alina? Don't scare me. The deal is tomorrow at 10 in the morning. The notary called, I lied without blinking an eye. She said that due to the fact that we own the apartment for less than a certain period of time, we will have to pay sales tax. A huge tax. Almost 3,000 euros to the state. How much? Sergey squealed. 3,000? Yes, they were dumbfounded. This is robbery. We already paid interest to the bank. No, that won't work. I'm not going to give my money to the tax office. He was furious. Greed is a terrible force. He had already paid for every penny and losing 3,000 was not part of his plans. Quiet, don't shout. I calmed him down with a gesture. The notary suggested a way out. There is a legal scheme for not paying this tax. Which one? He immediately moved closer to me, greedily catching every word. Look, I pulled out from the folder a document that I drew up in the afternoon with my lawyer. We are signing this agreement. It says that 80 of the funds for the purchase of the apartment were donated to me by my parents. According to the law, gifts are not taxed upon sale if we declare it as a return of family funds. Sergei grabbed the paper. He ran his eyes over the text, without reading it carefully, in legal formulations. He saw only what he wanted to see, tax exemption. That is, if we sign that this is your mother's money, we save 3. He clarified. I nodded exactly. This is a pure formality. For the tax office. No one will check. Just a piece of paper for the notary's archive. Income for the Pope. He laughed. Where to sign? I handed him a pen. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. If he now decides to read carefully. If he thinks about why a specific bank account is indicated there for transferring funds. But he didn't think. He thought about Christina, about the Maldives and that he would save a lot of money. He signed with a flourish. That's all. He slammed his palm on the table. And you were afraid. Learn to do business, woman. I carefully took the sheet. Blowed on the ink to dry. You are a genius, Serioza, I said quietly. A real strategist. Otherwise. He winked smugly. Okay, I'm going to bed. Tomorrow is a hard day. I need to look like a million. He went into the bedroom, whistling some pop tune. I was left in the kitchen alone. I held the verdict in my hands. He just personally signed a notarized statement that the apartment was purchased with the personal funds of his wife and is not fully jointly acquired property. Moreover, the document contained an irrevocable order to the notary to transfer 90 of the amount from the sale to my mother's account as a loan repayment. He thought that he was deceiving the state. But in fact, he signed bankruptcy for himself. I folded the documents in a neat folder. Stack. Tomorrow there will be a show. Tomorrow it will hurt. But not me. I turned off the light in the kitchen and went to sleep on the sofa in the living room. I could no longer lie in the same bed with him. I was disgusted. And also, I was a little scared. Because I knew when an animal gets into a trap, it becomes dangerous. Friday morning turned out to be sunny, but I hardly noticed it. I was shaking. Not from fear, no. From adrenaline. You know that feeling before a parachute jump? When you are already standing at the open hatch, the wind hits your face and there is no turning back. We were driving to the center, to the notary's office, on the Armenian street. Sergei was driving. He was not just cheerful, he was beaming. He turned on the radio at full volume, sang along to some pop song and every now and then clapped his palm on the steering wheel to the beat of the music. Well, Alenka, goodbye, poor girl, he shouted over the music. Today we will become free people. Oh yes, I thought, looking out the window at the trolleybuses floating past. You will become very free. Free from money, from family, and from housing. The notary's office smelled of expensive furniture, coffee, and old paper. Anna Dmitrievna, a notary with 20 years of experience, was sitting at a huge oak table. A strict woman with a high hairstyle, with a look that seemed to see all human sins. My colleague Oleg, the buyer, was already waiting for us. He was nervous, like any normal person buying an apartment, but he behaved confidently. There was a thick bag with documents on the table. "Is everything assembled?" Anna Dmitrievna asked dryly, adjusting her glasses. "Then let's begin. I don't have much time." The procedure was standard and boring. Reading the contract, reconciling passport data. Sergei fidgeted in his chair. He didn't care about the clauses of the contract. He was only interested in one moment, the transfer of money. The transaction amount was 82,000 euros. For Kishinev, good money for a two-room apartment with repairs. Payment is made through a bank safe deposit box, the notary muttered monotonously. Subject to access to the safe deposit box, a registered purchase and sale agreement. Sergei nodded like a Chinese dummy. Yes, everything is clear. Let's sign. He hurried. We signed the main agreement. Oleg signed. Anna Dmitrievna put her stamps. Sound seal hitting the paper sounded to me like the shot of a starting pistol. Congratulations, the transaction is completed, said the notary. Now regarding the distribution of funds. Sergei has already stood up, ready to grab the keys to the locker or documents for access. According to the additional agreement signed by the sellers yesterday and certified in the register under number 148, fraction B. Anna Dmitrievna took the same piece of paper that Sergei waved yesterday in the kitchen. The funds from the sale are distributed as follows. Sergei froze with a smile on his face. The smile began to slowly slide, turning into a grimace of incomprehension. Due to the fact that the apartment was purchased with funds donated to the wife by her mother, which is confirmed by bank statements for 2015, every word was minted by a notary. 90 of the amount, namely 73,800 euros, are transferred to the account of the donor Ivanova Natalia Petrovna. A ringing silence hung in the office. You could hear a fly buzzing on the window glass. What? Sergei squeezed out of himself. His voice broke into a falsetto. Who else is Natalia Petrovna? This is my mother-in-law. What are you talking about? The remaining 10, minus the costs of registration, the notary continued calmly, ignoring his cry, is divided equally between the spouses. And besides, about 4,000 euros will go to your personal account, Sergei Viktorovich. This is a mistake. Sergei yelled, jumping up from the chair. The chair fell with a roar. What kind of mother-in-law? The money is mine. My wife and I agreed. Alina, tell her. He turned to me. His eyes were crazy. The horror of an animal that had been driven into a corner splashed in them. I sat absolutely calm. I didn't even blink. Serioza, well, you signed it yourself yesterday, I said quietly, but so that everyone could hear. Do you remember not to pay taxes? You said, it's a tax paper, a pure formality. Sergei's face turned purple, then white, then stained. Oh, he croaked, you set me up. This is a scam. I didn't sign anything. This is a fake. He rushed to the table, trying to grab the documents. Security. Anna Dmitrievna said sharply, without raising her voice, pressing the button under table. A strong guy in uniform immediately appeared at the door. Oleg, the buyer, also stood up, covering the table with himself. Sergei Viktorovich, sit down, the notary ordered in an icy tone. Your signature has been certified, Video recording of the transaction is underway. You, with your own hand, signed the order to transfer funds. The money has already gone, the transaction is irrevocable. Gone? Sergei sank to the floor, as if the air had been let out of him. Where did they go? About my mother, I explained, getting up and straightening my purse. Where they came from, and came 8 years ago. Everything is fair, dear. We don't need someone else's, but I won't give you mine either. Sergei looked at me, opening and closing his mouth, like a fish thrown ashore. He began to understand. Everything dawned on him, and why I agreed so easily, and why I asked to find old statements, and why slipped that paper about taxes. He realized that he had lost. But the worst thing for him was not this. His phone, lying on the table, vibrated. A photo of Christina and his favorite signature appeared on the screen. He looked at the phone. Then at me. Alina. He whispered. I have debts. I have 3,000 euros of debt with interest. I borrowed from bandits. They will kill me. You have 4,000, I answered coldly. You'll pay off the debt and there'll be enough left over for beer. There really won't be enough for the Maldives. And for a new car for Christina too. But that's not my problem anymore. I took my copy of the contract. Let us go, Oleg, I told the buyer. Let us leave him. He needs to be alone. We left the office. Behind me I heard Sergei howl. Dull, drawn out, scary. This was a man who ruined his life with his own hands, but realized it too late. The sun was shining on the street. Kishinev was noisy, people were hurrying about their business, and I took a deep breath. The air smelled of freedom. But that was not the end. The final touch remained. I walked out of the stuffy notary office onto the Armenian street and breathed in the dusty, polluted air of the center, as if it were the purest mountain oxygen. The sun was blinding. Eyes. Cars rushed past, people hurried to the central market, life was in full swing. And for the first time in many years I felt that I was part of this life, and not just an addition to other people's ambitions. Sergei fell out of the entrance 5 minutes later. He resembled a man who had just been run over by a steamroller. His tie was knocked to one side, the jacket that he was so proud of seemed wrinkled. In his hand he was clutching the phone like a grenade, with the check pulled out. I didn't leave. I was waiting for this moment. I needed to see the ending of the play that I directed. He stood on the sidewalk and with trembling fingers dialed the number. I knew who he was calling. Christina. I stood in the shadow of a large linden tree literally 5 meters away, but he didn't see me. His world narrowed to the screen of a smartphone. Hello, Christina. His voice trembled and broke. Baby, it's me. Listen, this is the case. There were some minor difficulties. I saw how he shrank, listening to the answer. Apparently, the baby had already sensed something was wrong. No, the apartment was sold, everything is fine. He hurriedly rushed, he was trying to feign confidence. Just money. They hung up. Banking error, the transaction did not go through. We must wait. A week, maybe a month. He lied. He lied pathetically and incompetently. They shouted something sharply in the speaker. Even from such a distance I heard shrill notes. No, the car won't work today. Sergei was almost crying. Christina, wait. Don't hang up. I have 4,000, can we? Hello? Hello? He took the phone from his ear and looked at the screen. She hung up. And judging by the way he tried to call back and heard only short beeps, she blocked him. The love of his life ended exactly at that second when the money ran out. He lowered his hand and raised his eyes. And then he saw me. I stood and calmly looked at him. Without gloating. Without hatred. Just like an empty space. Sergei twitched Tome. Insane hope flashed in his eyes. Alina, he ran up, wanted to grab my hand, but I took a step back. Alina, wait. This is a mistake, right? Are you joking? Let's go back and rewrite the papers. We're a family. There's no family, Serioza, I said evenly. The family ended when you called me a chicken and decided to throw me out into the street. I didn't want to. He began to choke on words. It's all her. This rubbish confused me. I love only you. Alina, I have debts. They'll kill me. I borrowed 3,000 from the bandits, the counterticking. Help me. I looked at him with pity. To. He yelled, losing his temper. Passers-by began to turn around. This is my money. I will sue. Sue, I shrugged. The documents are clean. The notary will confirm that you were of sound mind. You signed your own verdict. A taxi drove up to us, which I called in advance. I opened the door. Goodbye, Serioza, I said on last. And thank you. If it weren't for your greed, I would still live in illusions. And now I'm free. I got into the car and told my mother's address. The taxi started moving. In the rearview mirror I saw how he was left standing in the middle of the Armenian street, a small, confused man, who had nothing left in his hands except a phone, with his mistress's number blocked. 6 months passed. Kishinev was preparing for winter, the last leaves were falling from the trees. I walked along Stefan Selmer Boulevard, wrapped in a new coat. Life is an amazing thing. I closed the mortgage, the money remained in my mother's account, and no one touched it. I didn't buy a new apartment right away. I decided to wait, take a closer look. I'm living with my parents for now, saving, working. I was even promoted. The boss noticed that I had become tougher, more confident, and entrusted me with the audit department. I'm no longer comfortable, Alina. I'm a woman who knows her worth. At the crossroads I stopped, waiting green light. An old, shabby taxi with checkers slowed down nearby. The window was slightly open. I accidentally glanced at the driver. And froze. It was Sergei. He had aged 10 years. There were dark circles under his eyes, sunken cheeks, gray stubble on his chin. He nervously smoked, drummed his fingers on the steering wheel and yelled at someone on the phone through the headset, but I'll give it back. I said, I'll work it out. No need to call my mother. Our gazes met. In his eyes I saw such an abyss of melancholy and envy that I felt uneasy. He looked at me, beautiful, calm, prosperous. At the very chicken that turned out to be too tough for him. I didn't nod to him. I didn't smile. I just turned away and walked across the road to the green light. He stayed there in his old taxi in his pathetic life, which he chose himself. And I walked forward. They say that betrayal breaks. It's not true. Betrayal is just a painful surgical operation. They cut off everything unnecessary, rotten for you so that you can live on. Healthy and strong. My husband and mistress made plans for my life. But they forgot that I poured the foundation of this house. And the keys to it too for me, forever.